For the final portion of the test, numbers 22 through 25, you want to solve these equations. I do recommend applying a square root on these. So number 22, it's cake, square root, square root. Just remember the truth. When you apply a square root in an equation, you have to put a plus minus in front of your answer. So your answer is going to be x equals plus or minus. Now, remember, this negative sign is really going to become an I, and you do have times the square root of 49. No more negative. But keep in mind, that square root of 49, that's a nice, beautiful answer. It's going to be 7. So your final answer is going to be x equals plus or minus 7i. Okay? Now, you need all of that on your answer column to get your full points. So 22, you have to put x equals, you need the plus or minus. If you don't put the plus or minus, you only get half credit. You need the 7i in order to get full credit right there. Number 23, since I'm recommending you to apply square roots, let's get rid of everything doing one step at a time. Instead of distributing 5, I want to get rid of the 5. It's going to cancel what you do to one side and do to the other. So you will have x minus 3 left over to the second power equals 45 divided by 5 is 9. Okay? So what am I going to do now? I'm going to get rid of the square by applying a square root to both sides. Now remember, when you apply a square root, you have to put a plus or minus in front of your answer. So my answer will be plus or minus 3. However, on the left side, the square root and the square eliminate themselves, so you just have an x minus 3 left over. Now, the only way to get the x by itself now would be to get rid of the minus 3, which would be to add 3 to both sides. Now, keep in mind, you cannot add 3 to the plus or minus 3. It's actually two separate problems, so let me write it out separately. X equals, we have the positive 3 that I just moved over to the other side, and I now have the plus or minus 3 right behind it. Now, this is technically our answer, but you need to write it as two separate answers because you could actually do this. So let me show you what this really means. It means 3 plus 3, and it also means 3 minus 3. So your two answers are 6 and 0. Those are your two answers right there, 6 and 0. So on the answer column for 23, you're going to put x equals 6. You could also put comma 0. Don't write it as a coordinate, all right? Don't put parentheses around it. You could put x equals 6 comma 0, or x equals 6 and 0, or you could put x equals 6, x equals 0, whatever you want. Moving on to number 24, let's get rid of everything. So I'm going to divide by 3, cancels. Actually, I'm not going to divide by 3, I'm sorry. Let's start by getting rid of that 10. That's the easiest thing to do. Minus 10 cancels, minus 10. So you're going to end up with, let me rewrite it, 3 parenthesis x plus 1, close parenthesis squared, equals 27. And of course we are going to divide by 3, cancels, divide by 3. You're going to end up with x plus 1 squared equals 9, which means we could apply a square root, I will have x plus 1 equals plus or minus 3. Okay? Now we need to subtract 1 and subtract 1. So my final answer will be x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3. Now that could be written as two separate answers, and I'm going to write it as two separate answers. Let me just divide that work right there. Okay, so my two separate answers will be negative 1 plus 3 and also negative 1 minus 3. So negative 1 plus 3, I get the answer of 2. Negative 1 minus 3, I get the answer of negative 4. So 2 and negative 4 are my answers. And that's what we're going to write over here, 2 and negative 4. So x equals 2, comma, negative 4. Again, don't put parentheses around it because they are not coordinates. Final question. Thank goodness, because I'm tired of explaining this on video. I want to isolate it. I'm going to subtract 32. Cancel, subtract 32. I'm going to end up with 4x squared equals negative 16. And then I'm going to divide by 4. It's going to cancel out. I will have x squared equals negative 4. And then I want to get rid of the square, so I'm going to apply a square root, apply a square root. X equals plus or minus. Now, you should all know that the square root of negative 4, it's not a real number, it's an imaginary number, 2i. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done explaining to you the entire test. Hopefully you watch all these videos and get ready for the entire test, and hopefully you ace it. That way we could really, all of us, including me, enjoy our Thanksgiving break. All right, see you in class.